From TeaDB, bringing you guys episode 190.
So we have from the hills of Poland some tea. Denny, you were recently traveling, is that right?
I was. So I was in Poland, and a friend took me to a really, really cool tea shop called Czajownia. Czajownia. I don't know. And so I chatted with their staff a bunch. They were really cool. I was shocked at the quality. They had really good tea. And so I went there a few times. It was in the Jewish quarter of Czajownia in Krakow. And I loved it there. And they gave me a gaiwan and let me do my thing. And so I had some Alishan twice, and I brought some back for James. So
for our Polish viewers, you would definitely recommend this place.
I would, yeah. Czajownia. Google it.
Yeah, you guys can figure it out. If you're Polish, then please forgive us for our...
Czajownia. Czajownia.
I'm not even going to try.
So,
but this tea is not from Poland, correct? This tea originates from Taiwan.
Yeah, it's in Alishan. So, but doesn't mean you can't go to a different country and get good tea. And apparently that tea shop is actually a let's clean this out a little bit. is actually Ohot. Ohot. A little it's an offshoot from a tea shop in Prague, I guess.
Very interesting.
I don't know.
So, if you're in Prague, you can look up their sister store, I guess.
Yeah. Sweet. Oolong.
So what is your methodology right here for choosing how much leaf we're going?
Man, practice, frankly.
Practice.
I mean, you do it a bunch, but my sort of rule of whatever is fill up the bottom of the gaiwan till it's covered, and good enough.
Cool.
These oolongs are pretty forgiving, gotta say. I mean, and so that's a general guideline. I think that'll work pretty well.
So the better the oolong, generally the more forgiving it will be.
Yeah, I mean, I would brew it carefully and don't be, be attentive. But with that being said, and even more so with those roasted oolongs, you can go hard on them. So, yeah. But I'm gonna give this quite a bit of time for the first steeping because it really does take some oomph to get these leaves opened a little bit, but they're opening up quite nicely now.
So these are rolled pretty tightly then.
Yeah.
And we are using boiling water, am I right?
We are. Get in there. Great fragrance just off of the gaiwan without any sniff.
Yep, creamy vegetal.
Yep.
Sort of standard high mountain
vibes.
aromatics. Yep. High mountain lives. Yeah.
Let's do it. You want to drink this?
Sure.
Let's do it.
Cheers.
Salud. Cheers, guys. Na zdrowie.
Word.
It's the first steeping. It's light.
Yeah, it still is very light. Despite that, and this kind of gives you a glimpse of what happens if you do drink that rinse. Is that it's just did you rinse it?
I didn't, and it doesn't need rinse. The stuff is
that's
good.
what I thought.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I didn't think so, but I wanted to make sure. Because that just the leaves are absorbing a lot of the water already, and so it's just like you're not getting the money seeds per se.
Yeah.
So even if it's like okay to drink, which it usually is, for most of the teas that we're bringing onto the show, you're not going to die or anything. But it's it tends to be a little weaker. Yeah.
Absolutely. And the difference in the amount of leaf in the gaiwan from a volume perspective is pretty noticeable now. So, and as I breathe these out, we're going to start to brew shorter and shorter as the leaf expands and fills up the gaiwan even more. So, kind of hard to tell, but the very bottom was covered at first, and then maybe a third of the gaiwan was full, and now it's about half. Yum. And the color's not getting a lot more yellow quite yet, but it will. It'll get there.
Yep.
So I'm doing a high pour so we can drink this quickly.
So right now we are in the winter time here in Seattle, which is probably not quite as cold as winter time in Poland.
Not at all.
But is certainly not Mexico. When would you drink this tea?
Yeah, well, I love this flavor profile, and so it's definitely a year-round tea for me, but I really appreciate the crispness and fresh flavors in summertime especially. So I do tend to sort of hunker down and get those more cozy, warm blanket kind of flavors. Tea's so weird. We're so weird. Why do people listen to this?
I love blanket flavors.
I love it, dude. The warm blanket flavors.
By that,
you know what I mean?
Denny does not mean literally licking a preheated blanket. Please do not do that.
Especially if it's an electric blanket, do not do that.
We meant more in the metaphorical sense.
Indeed. So, but your hefty raw oolongs and your raw pu'ers and your roasted oolongs, those sort of white tea, green oolongs, I tend to prefer in the warmer months. But whatever you like to drink it whenever you want.
And despite it being quite cold here in Seattle, and despite the fact that it's going to be dark in about 2.5 hours at 4:30, we have a nice sunny day.
Yeah.
We have some daylight, which is not always the case. So I actually find this tea to be reasonably suitable for what we're having right now.
Yeah, exactly right. This is a great sun is shining, and you sit down and have a great session, and then go for a nice little walk. So, yeah, actually a pretty beautiful day outside. Yeah. What do you think of this tea so far?
Yeah, it's really smooth. There's not hardly any tannins at all in it, despite you hitting it decently hard by my estimate.
Yeah, we're going to go harder.
So I think it's a pretty decent quality Alishan. Definitely has a lot of those characteristic flavors. Tastes decently fresh to me. I don't know if this was spring or winter, but it's not 3 years old, I can tell you that much. So
absolutely. And there's nothing wrong with getting familiar with an Alishan and in appreciating that it's going to be Alishan to Alishan to Alishan. It's going to vary in quality, but still be within a family and be similar. And so, if you're looking to really shake stuff up, instead of going for a different, you can switch into a different mountain, which I want to use green oolongs. Or you can just go totally far afield and grab a ripe pu'er or something very different.
Yep.
I absolutely love this flavor profile, I have to say. It's a little bit creamy, it's crisp and fresh. It's not too vegetal, but you're still tasting the green.
Yep. And this has been a consistent flavor profile for you to love for years now at this point.
Yeah.
So,
but you can get sick of it, and then you switch to something else, and you come back to it. So
exactly.
Cheers.
I think this is the best steep. Richer, creamier, still coming into its own. Leaves just sweet feelings on the mouth, which is just, I think, one of the appeals. Is just sort of that lasting aftertaste.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is one of those teas that you bring to somebody who's never had a tea like this before, and like, oh my God, is there sugar in this? And yeah, it just has that wonderfully sweet, easy to drink vibe on it.
Pass the mom test easily. For most moms, I think, unless your mom is more of a dank compost drinker. But I think those moms tend to be in the minority.
Yeah, those are few and far between.
Yeah.
And I actually brought this tea to a friend who doesn't ever sit down, and I said, let me treat you to tea. Let's hang out and talk philosophy for a few hours. And so I sat with my friend Josh and just we had a roasted oolong. And then we had this, and he really enjoyed this a lot. And so, always a great thing to bring on with friends, no matter who they are. They're going to enjoy this, I think. So,
So very friendly, very easy. I think this would also be if you're starting with a tea session and you just want to feel people out, just like people you may not know. This is a wonderful tea to bring on because it's uncontroversial in how decent it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And and it's a softer flavor profile, so you won't ruin your palate with this.
Yeah. You're not gonna rub anyone the wrong way.
Right.
With this
Whereas if you start with a raw pu'er, you might be harder to notice some of the intricacies of this sort of thing. So, and this will brew out for 8-10 steepings, and then start to lose some of its steam. We're going to start to brew it out for longer here, but this will be the last steeping. This will be the last steeping that we have. So,
so the leaves have you guys can't see, but the leaves have fully expanded at this point.
Right.
So we can, so they're not unraveling like they were originally. And this leaf, I did notice, is pretty tightly rolled as far as oolongs go. It took a while, and especially considering that long first steep, for them to come all the way out. So, so that would probably give it a little bit better longevity, I would guess, just because it's a little bit slower before you're getting the full surface area.
Yeah, absolutely. And so let's try to see if we can show that off here now, but the guy one's nice and full and really solid leaf quality as well. So big shout out to those folks over there at Czajownia. It's a great place. It's always fun to go to a tea shop that has a nice atmosphere. And not only do they have a nice atmosphere there, but they also had really high quality tea. So shout out to those dudes over there. Shout out to Alishan. Thanks for being an awesome mountain.
Yeah. Hashtag Alishan. Hashtag Czajownia.
Not bad.
Yeah, well, you said it enough then. I just mimic you.
So while we drink this last steeping, James, where can folks learn more about tea?
Yeah, they can come check us out at TeaDB.org. If you're watching us on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. If you're not watching us on YouTube, if you're watching us from TeaDB site, also go and subscribe to our channel. Just get normal updates of when we're releasing content and whatever. Follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook. Tell your moms to do all of the same.
Follow us on all the relevant stuff. Also, if you want to submit samples for us to try and maybe potentially bring onto the show or work with us in some way, hit us up on email, which is tdborg@gmail.com.
Yep.
And keep the tea flowing. Hope you folks out there are enjoying your oolongs.
Yeah, and let us know what you're drinking. Leave a comment.
Yeah. Comment with your favorite, maybe your favorite Alishan oolong?
Sure.
Who knows? Maybe what's your favorite vendor for Alishan?
Or people in Poland. Have you been to this store? Shout it out if you have. Or
there are some in Prague too, so check it out.
Yeah, so if you're in that area, please do.
All right.
Cheers,
See you guys. Ciao.